also, I think you should come out with another podcast because there's room for another one. Because ding dong, the bitch got fired. I've said at the top of the program, the air is cleaner this week. We can breathe a little deeper because apparently PodcastOne has told Shitstain that his services are no longer required. And I did a little investigate, very little, because I'd had to listen to some of what he said, but I did a little investigating and I found out it was a heel program. There were no baby faces in this. Apparently, Dick Lick got in a internet Twitter fight with another shithead who, as a matter of fact, I didn't even know this shithead existed on the face of the planet until I up and blocked him on Twitter a couple months ago because I've turned on my Twitter and there he was saying something stupid to me or about me or whatever. So I went back and forth with him, put him in his place and blocked him. But apparently this guy got hot because Shitstain said something about him and his girlfriend. So, and then Russo's, this is where I know that the story gets bullshit because he said, then the guy said, tons of Russo's followers began issuing death threats to my girlfriend. Well, for one thing, 7 people across the whole world issuing you a death threat. Because, I mean, how many people listen to this fucking idiot to begin with? But nevertheless, it was a heel program. I don't care. I don't like either one. But the point is, karma is a bitch. And I'm not talking about Awesome Kong. She's a very nice lady. I'm talking about the real karma. Because of all the stupid things that the Archbishop of Talentberry ever said, of all the ridiculous bullshit that's come out of his mouth, of all the bad grammar, of all the horrible broadcasting, of all the painful listens that he has produced and foisted off on America and the world, what got him kicked off? Another Weasley stooge whining to the boss. Karma is this guy. He sends these tweets to PodcastOne, and how dare you allow this guy to eat my death threats? And of course, it's not like we're not talking about their top programming here. We're not talking about the fucking 60 minutes of goddamn podcasting here. We're talking about fucking ice fishing in Antarctica. Probably their lowest rated program, but they ixnayed him because some other whiny little bitch went and whined to the boss. And that got me thinking about karma, because sooner or later these things come back. Have you noticed that? Sooner or later, sometimes you got to wait forever. We're still waiting on Trump, but his karma's coming. But sooner or later, karma comes back and kicks these whiny little bitches in the ass. Have you noticed that?
I've noticed that.
You know what I've never done? Because I started thinking about this. I have never, in over 35 years now in professional wrestling, never once have I gone as and I'll explain this, but as a talent, or have I gone to the booker or the promoter or the office or whoever and buried another one of the boys or another member of the booking committee or what have you. Now, I will qualify this as a booker. Then I've buried a bunch of guys to the promoter and said, we ought to fire this guy or this guy's the shits, because that's what he was paying me to do, right? That doesn't count. But as a talent, I never buried another talent, another wrestler or another manager, somebody in my on my equal plane. I never went to the office to complain about anybody. As an announcer, I never badmouthed another announcer or asked for their spot. As a creative team member or office member, I may knock some of the boys to the fucking boss who was paying me to, but I never went to the boss to bury another member of my team. Now, I've gone sideways to other people on our level privately. Plenty of people. Dutch Mantell always knew exactly what I thought, a fucking idiot, right? And so did Vince McMahon, for that matter. Just by visual illustration, but I didn't go and whine to him. I mean, you couldn't really disguise that at that point. But I've never gone to the boss to whine about somebody. What I did do, and I started thinking about this. Maybe I went about it the wrong way. Maybe I did. We're going to figure this out, because what I did instead of going to the boss and burying somebody was just be the best that I could be at what I was doing and try to be better than most people. And then there would always be something for me to do. As being a manager, I obsessed to cut the best promos, jot down ideas for lines on subjects in the car or think of shit in the shower, just 24 hours a day, do shit in my head, but I was always ready to talk about anything. I studied television and camera angles and lights and cues and tapes and psychology of promos and shit, and stole from everybody and got the most heat possible, probably in and out of the ring. And I worked hard at ringside and screamed my voice out, and sweated and got heat. And I also figured out that, every bump I ever took as a manager or wrestler, I took for the first time in front of people. I had never had any practice. I was never trained to do anything. The first time I ever took any bump, any move was in front of people. So a little trial and error there. That's why I feel the way I do now. As an announcer, I came prepared. I tried to push the talent instead of just myself. On booking committees, I was a paperwork freak. I overprepared. I watched the outside talent in all the territories when it was worthwhile to do that. The point is, I just worried about my shit and doing the best I could do at whatever that I was supposed to be doing. And I may have got canned a couple times, but I always had a job, because if you get good at a lot of things, there's always something you can do. And if you do a good job, you know what you're doing. People will always want you to do it, right? But I start thinking, did I do it the wrong way? Because what I could have done is what some other people do, Brian. I could have begged for my first job in the wrestling business. And then when I got it, I could have started burying all my coworkers to the boss, and I'd get over that way probably for a couple of years. But then I could screw the boss and leave with no notice to take a job with the competitor that I had begged for a job. But then within literally a couple of years of that happening, not even, I would contribute to that company going out of business, and then I would blame a lot of my coworkers, and I could have gotten lawsuits and et cetera. And then I could beg another company for work and then bury more of my coworkers to that boss. And then I could have got so toxic at that particular company that I had to work for them in secret and then get them kicked off their TV network. And then I could spend the next 10 years or so begging all the companies that I'd worked for that were still in business to give me a job again, and wonder why all of my coworkers that I buried and all those companies that I fucking cost money either hate me or make fun of me. So there was that way. Which one do you think works better?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Well, but anyway, my advice: work hard and be better at shit than the other guy, and you won't have to go whining like a whiny little bitch to the boss, because you will already be doing a good job. And then when you get over and you become a legend and you've had steady jobs and multiple successes over 35 years, then you can bury anybody you want. But up until that point, keep your fucking dick liquor shut, and we're glad to see you go, pal, because you're a fucking creep.